Today's topic basically, it's pretty broad, but it's how can the leaders of this planet best serve the planet and all the people on it at the same time. And I felt for a while it's quite significant and it's something we should talk about, because we seem to focus on, well, the media and stuff seems to focus a lot on the negative side of things and what's wrong, but I think what we need to start doing is shift our consciousness to, alright, so we know things aren't the best at the moment on the planet, but how can we change it and how can we fix it? And we need to start talking about answers, not problems, so we need to get solutions. Hey Jess, hey Jack, Mickey, say bro. So some of the topics we're going to be talking about tonight is basically how we're going to convert war and poverty into peace and abundance, and how we can achieve that. We're going to talk about cash consciousness, which is a real thing in today's day and age. ET consciousness, or extra-terrestrial consciousness, and technology, where we are now and as a whole, and where we should be or where we could be in the future. So hey Karuna, hey Todd, hey Shane. So I think we need to begin with our leaders, and we need to begin and ourselves, and we need to start focusing on, basically, we need our leaders to focus on nature as opposed to economics. As a politician or whatever they may be, the leaders, they come up with these plans, these 20-year plans, 5-year plans, 50-year plans, whatever it may be. I think what we need to start doing as a part of a 50-year plan is to focus on right now. We need to start fixing and repairing the damage that we've done yesterday and in our past. That's where we need to begin. We've got to stop really focusing on future economics, future revenue, future this and future that. We need to focus on the now, because we're at a time where I feel like it's a critical point in history, really, and I feel like it's just about coming back into the now. We really need to focus on fixing this up. So the first thing I want to touch on is cash consciousness, and it's come to my attention, has been for a while, but it just recently, since I'm putting together this camp, this holistic camp for PTSD and stuff like that, and what I'm finding is not having a monetary value on this camp. It seems that people don't value it as much, or they're not putting much value on it, and I'm speaking to people that have recently been to retreats, and they're paying $3,500 for a week, or $1,000 a day. Some people are being sponsored by the government or whatnot, by certain organisations, and it's a lot of money. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best value for money. So we have this tendency to put a dollar amount that equals the product value, but in actual fact, it's not always the case, and sometimes the most simple and the most natural ways of going about things are the most effective and the best ways and the most cost effective. Um, yeah, so that's my sort of thing around cash consciousness, is we need to start being more aware and looking into what is available, as opposed to how much it costs, what is the product we're receiving, um, as opposed to how much it costs, what is the value, what am I going to get out of it. That's sort of just a basic overrun of the cash consciousness, which is pretty brief. If anyone else has any comments on that, who's watching? Hey Robert, Katrina, hello, Rachel, Michelle, Steve-O, hey bro, Barbs, Zach, Tino, hello. Thank you all for joining in. So there's no comments on that, so I'm going to move on to the next one, which is extraterrestrial consciousness and technology. And I was looking into extraterrestrial, the word itself, actually, what does it mean, you know? So we have extra, we know what that means, it's more. Terrace actually means earth, so terrace with an S being a plural is earths or earth. And trial, so what we're looking at is extra earth trial, is literally what the word translates to. I want to touch on some human traits, the technology we have, and just bring awareness to that, to where we are as a civilization and what we have at our disposal. You know, some people, they think of extraterrestrial as these, you know, beings that are completely separate from ourselves. You know, maybe they have lasers or whatever. But in actual fact, it's no different to what we have. You know, we have, if you think about a TV remote in its most simple form, you know, you sit on your couch and you press a button and it affects something, you know, a few meters away from you. And on a very small scale, you know, it's exactly the same as what you would think of as a extraterrestrial having a laser beam or something. It's just a bigger scale and more velocity, more power. But you know, we have that technology, and a TV remote is a very simple one. You know, we have mobile phones. We can connect to each other instantly. On the other side of the world, you know, internet, we can look at each other like you're watching this video right now live from your living room or wherever you may be. You know, this technology is so advanced, but we're living in it, so we don't really think about it. We just take it for granted and we just accept it. And it's something that we need to think into. You know, we have lasers, we've got night vision, we can literally see things at night time. Computers, virtual reality, you know, you have these virtual reality goggles and you can see everywhere you look, you know, with these goggles on, you can see and you can literally feel like you're inside there, and it your emotions and your physiologically, you have effects from just being inside this virtual reality. Drones, we've got drones. Like, look at the way drones move. They move across, they move up, they move down, they hover, they move in all sorts of directions at different speeds. You know, and that's just that's another small example. But anything that we have in a small scale, we can have on a big scale. It's just a matter of changing the volume and the dimensions. You know, we've got 3D printers. We can literally put a program into a computer and watch something being made in front of our eyes. Robots, we have robots. We're building robots that literally resemble human beings. This is the time we're in. A little bit further into that, you know, we have satellites orbiting our Earth. We have space programs. You know, sometime in the future, we're looking at colonizing space. We're looking at moving from this Earth on spaceships and literally exploring the universe. And for us to do that, we literally become what we would see as an extraterrestrial visiting us. You know, by us doing that, we become that extraterrestrial, and we become what it is that we find so hard to believe. And you know, we're not far away from that. So these are just things that we need to think about when we're thinking about extraterrestrial. You know, it's not far from ourselves, if at all. You know, if there is a difference. Yeah, I mean, think about 500, like how far we've come in the last 100 years. Like, think about 500 years more advanced, how advanced we're going to be as a civilization, if we choose to be. You know, this is all up to us and our consciousness, and how far we allow ourselves to go. But yeah, I mean, 500 years from now, we're going to be so advanced that we can't even comprehend the technology we're going to have. Now, just think about another race on another planet. You know, there's hundreds of billions of planets out there, and for one species to be 500 years more evolved than us, then it makes sense that they would have the capacity and ability to visit us here. You know, and we're seeing these things all the time. You know, we're seeing things moving in the sky that we can't explain, that move like things that we have no explanation for. We're seeing, you know, people are having experiences, physical experiences, you know, abductees. What else? You know, crop circles, that's a big one, crop circles. You know, where do these come from? And if it is us creating them, then where's the consciousness coming from to create these formations, and the technology to do it so perfectly? You know, we have orbs. People, you know, even in the mainstream media, it's starting to come out that, you know, there are things in our solar system, we don't know what they are. You know, there's definitely things in our universe that we have no explanation for, or that we can't even probably conceive at this point in time. Hey Josh, hey Angela, Gabriel, Diffie, hey bro, Evo, Kristen. Yeah, so a question that sort of comes up to me a little bit is do I think extraterrestrials exist, or do I think that they're on this planet? Yeah, I mean, I believe that they exist, and I believe that they walk among us, and one thing that really cements it for me is that we think of ourselves as separate to this. But again, I want to bring it back to our origins. You know, like, we literally are part of the cosmos. We're not separate from the cosmos. We're a part of it, and we come from the Big Bang, or whatever the theory you believe. But we've come from that evolutionary. We've evolved. We're basically, we are stardust. You know, we come from the stars. We're made of the stars. We're made of the same elements. We're made. You know, there may be different ones out there. There is different elements out there, but fundamentally, we are made. This planet is made. This solar system is made from the exact same material as what is out there, what we can see in our telescopes, what we can see when we look up at night. You know, so yeah, we have come from the stars, regardless of, you know, what background, what your background is, or what you believe. Like, that's where we come from, fundamentally. How did we get to the planet? Maybe we were genetically modified, or we were somehow came to this planet, and our DNA was mixed with something terrestrial, something from the earth, and that's how we got there to be a human being. You know, we're already at the point now as a human being in our evolution where we're creating artificial hearts. You know, we're creating body parts, we're creating parts that we can put into a human being that will sustain life. And you know, once you have that basis, that foundation, you can grow and evolve and create, you know, living beings eventually. That's what we're going to be doing. So to think that maybe we came here and made in the same way, you know, 15, 20, 30,000 years ago, however long it may have been, it's not too far to stretch the imagination. Yeah, another thing, you know, I was just watching this documentary last night. It says, you know, we have this the technology to beam out 1,000,000-watt radars to an asteroid that's 5 million kilometers away. And this asteroid is not stationary. This asteroid is flying through space at exuberant speeds, you know, and we as human beings have the technology to fire a laser beam up at this asteroid as it moves with pinpoint accuracy, because it has to be pinpoint accuracy to receive a signal back. So we can send a beam up to that asteroid and receive a signal straight back down to Earth. You know, that's pretty special technology to be able to do that. And that will give us a distance to that asteroid within 10 meters. You know, that's pretty amazing. Still on the topic of ET, do I think they'll visit us here on the planet? And if they haven't already been, then, which I believe they have, I guess the difference is, will they appear in their extraterrestrial form, or would they appear in a humanoid form? And I believe that if we continue on the path that we're on, and the planet continues to destroy itself as we do at this time because of our level of consciousness, if we don't move through that, and we've got all this talk about nuclear war and this and that, and what will happen if we go into a nuclear, what may happen if we go into a nuclear war is the potential for that to affect other dimensions that we can't see and hear with our 5 senses or touch, but other dimensions that surround us, and you know, other universes, so to speak, may be affected by a nuclear war. So if we get to a point where that's going to happen, then possibly there may be some type of invasion from outside to put a stop to it. But I believe that if we as a species or as a race, as human beings, if we can come up to a level of consciousness in order to stop any nuclear wars, stop anything that's destroying ourselves and our planet, and ultimately other planets and other dimensions, then you know there's no need for intervention. But if we continue the way we are and we do threaten other dimensions, then there's not going to be any free will or choice from the human race. It's just going to be that, you know, we are now threatening external intelligence, and they will act appropriately to preserve themselves and us. A lot of people say, you know, if there's extraterrestrials here, why don't they come out and show themselves? Why aren't we seeing them? And it's a pretty simple answer in my mind. is that we are quite a hostile species. We are the consciousness we're at the moment is it's quite hostile. We judge our, you know, people in our community. We judge people we don't know by how they look, what they're wearing. You know, people look at me walking down the street with my tattoos and my hair, and they look at me, and it's all, you know, some people aren't ready to even be open to people that look different. So are we ready as a collective for extraterrestrial migration or integration? No, I don't think we are. And until we move through that, then we can't receive that either, unless of course we're threatening them. Hey Adrian, hey Camilla, hey Hannah, Bridget, Tracy, Roland, hello. Kristen, what's Kristen got to say? I've seen a UFO, I believe in extraterrestrials. Yeah, absolutely, me too. And you know, you only need to go onto YouTube and do a search and you're going to find UFOs, you know. And I put a video up a few days ago of something moving through the sky, and I took this video from the Macabre Crop Circle. It's a really interesting video. If you haven't watched it yet, highly recommend you do, and watch it in high definition. And I didn't even see the object when I was there. I only saw it when I got home, and about a week ago when I posted the video. But yeah, if anyone else has had any experiences, please comment. If anyone has any thoughts, please comment. Another question that I'm sort of wondering is, you know, as a race, do human beings want you know, extraterrestrials to come here and integrate with us? Because it could be seen as an invasion, you know. It might be hard for people to accept and comprehend, and they may see it as a threat. So it could be also seen as an invasion, which it may be if it was to happen. So it's really important that we shift our consciousness to a level that doesn't require any intervention. You know, and also believe that the energy that comes through or information that comes to people, certain people that are open to it, you know, it's coming from somewhere external. Yeah, I'm gonna move on. Alright, so this one. How do we turn war and poverty that we're seeing all over the planet into peace and prosperity and abundance for everybody, for the entire human race, no matter what country you're in? You know, I believe that there are alternatives to the way we're living, and you know, population control is not necessary, because we have so much land, we have so much water, we have an abundance of resources, but we're just not using them correctly. So free energy devices, like, actually I'll sort of talk about first how I think we can change from the war and poverty to the peace and prosperity. So I think the first thing that people need to consider, especially our leaders, is you know, we could take the budget, our defense budget, or all defense budgets, all military industrial complex budgets around the world, and if we were to shift that expenditure from weaponry into technology that we have the blueprints for, we have technology available, if we were to shift that money going into destruction and war, into say free energy devices and things that are going to transform our salt water to fresh water. All these things we have. So we've got if you haven't seen the documentary called Billions in Change, I suggest you watch it. It's called Billions in Change. And it talks a lot about a few of the things that I'm actually speaking of at the moment. Number one thing that we have access to, they've created a thing called graphene. And what this does is it transfers energy at 100% efficiency. So there's no loss from one end to the other. It's hot at one end, it's hot at the other end, and it's cool in the middle. So it's just 100% transfer of energy. And what that means is that we can eventually build big enough conduits to either tunnel down to the center of the earth, go into maybe volcanoes, something like this, and transfer heat from the center of our earth up to the surface of our earth with no loss. So it's 100% efficiency, and we have everlasting an abundance of heat energy. There's we're not going to run out. It's in our core. It's there. It's available. We just need to tap into it. This is technology that is available. It's just a matter of shifting our consciousness into thinking about it and moving forward and talking about it and using it. They've come up with these push bike generators that create electricity, so every household could have one or two of these push bike generators. And not only are you creating energy, free energy, clean energy, but you're also getting exercise, which moves into the health aspect of things. We have quite an unhealthy population due to foods and diet mainly, and what we're fed, and because that's what's available at this moment. But we have these things that can generate power for free, absolutely 100% clean, and that's available to us. There's no reason why we can't be pushing these out on a grand scale. And I don't mean if you're living in a nice home and you're comfortable, it doesn't mean you have to change the way you live, but it means that people don't need to struggle, people don't need to be stressed, and people don't need to be worried about where their next meal's coming from or if they can pay their power bill, because we're at a time now in our evolution where it doesn't need to be a question. We have the resources available to not worry about that sort of stuff. Pure water, water's a massive one. and what I see is with the ability to create pure, clean drinking water from salt water, which is what we have. We have the ability to turn salt water into pure pharmaceutical grade water. Now that we have that ability, what's to stop us from building massive pipelines that go from the ocean where these water facilities will be and pumping that water straight into inland, where there may not be so much water. But water is life. Water is all we need to survive. So if we can pump in water inland from all these, say we have barges sitting off the coast and just pumping water in, there's no limits to where we can live. There's no limits to how many people can be there. There's no limits to how much food we can grow, organic food we can grow. The possibilities are endless. All it takes is that idea and that technology, which is available, and now we can do it. yeah, so it's just about shifting the mentality and talking about how we can do it instead of talking about the problems. It's talking about the solutions. You know, shelter is obviously another big one. You know, we can take recycled plastic, recycled steel, recycled timber. You know, you could probably almost build, you know, an entire home from recycled plastic, or at least the foundations of it from recycled plastic. Just like, just got paused, and I hope it's back on. Yeah. So that stuff we have, we're not only we're reducing our waste, recycling our plastic, but we're going to be homing people as well, giving people shelter, and growing our own food. Obviously, you know, we have these massive communities wherever they are, whether they're on the coast or whether they're inland, and they're getting pumped this fresh water. We can grow our own food and sustain our own life. But land is something we have in abundance, especially here in Australia. You know, we've just got so much land, it's unbelievable. But we all like to live on the coast. But, you know, in saying that, the choice should be available to people if we have people that would be willing to live inland, in communities, and living this free and abundant life, then that should be available to them. That's the duty of the leaders of this planet, is to provide that for the people of the planet. You know, that's what they're here for. Yeah, going back to the military-industrial complex and all the employees, you know, what would happen if this was to go ahead and we were to stop the war and we were to stop, you know, all these people that are employed? It's a massive money maker, yes. Well, what happens if we took the focus from making weapons? We took all the human resources we have, all the people, and all the technology they have, all the equipment they have, and they just switched it from weaponry to clean energy and to you know, we could turn these people into engineers, and they could be restructuring, rebuilding. So, you know, there wouldn't have to be a loss of income for any of these big companies, or you know, they could just simply shift. In fact, there's probably going to be more money because they're going to have to build new equipment, build new this, build new that. So it's kind of, I feel like, you know, they have the ability to take what is becoming a destructive and you know, a destructive agenda, and they can turn that into basically advancement of the civilization of Earth, advancement of people of Earth, advancement. We have the ability to be so advanced, both you know, mentally, physically, spiritually. It's unbelievable the potential that we have as humans in this day and age, in this time. So, you know, it's really quite exciting. It's just going to take a shift of mind, a shift of the collective mind, of the collective consciousness. And that's another reason why I'm doing this video, is just to put it out there and to get it in the minds of people, because then we can start speaking about it and start making it real, start bringing it to fruition. But until we're speaking about it, and we have to act, you know, we have to speak and we have to act on it. Otherwise, there's no good having the information, the knowledge in there and just letting it sit there, because one, you're going to go crazy, and two, it's going to waste. You know, another thing that some of that money could go to is a space watch, you know, an asteroid watch. You know, we live on this planet, and we are not immune to asteroids and comets hitting our planet. You know, they have found over 150 large asteroid impact sites on the Earth. They believe there's an estimated 3 million asteroid impacts on the Earth. And to get an idea of what an asteroid impact would do, you know, you can go and have a look at some of the pictures I've uploaded of the moon, and you can see clearly on the moon the craters of the impacts of asteroids hitting our moon. And our moon's a lot smaller than us, but you can see that the splatter from some of the impacts go almost a quarter of the way around the moon. Like it's massive. So we can put some of those funds into a space watch program that's designed to preserve the human species as a whole, and whilst advancing at the same time. You know, I think at this point in time, our Space Watch program funding is ridiculously low. I think the last thing I heard was it was about the same as the cost of running the one McDonald's per year or something. On average, it's nothing. I think this is something that we really need to be mindful of, and it's not something to fear, you know, but it's just something that we need to start looking beyond, you know, just our planet, just our house, just our community, what's around us. Like, all these dangers and fears that are put into us are usually, they're just put into us, they're sold to us for whatever reasons. But yeah, we need to start looking externally, and we need to start thinking about the bigger picture and preserving us as a species. And that's almost it. And I guess you know, what can we do as people, as individuals, to bring this about? And again, speaking about it is number one. Researching it, doing your own research, and accountability. Accountability is a big one. We seem to be in this time where people can sort of do and say whatever they want on TV, you know, whether it be politicians, whether it be you know, media, whether it be news readers, whatever it is. You know, we as a people, it's our right and it's our obligation to hold these leaders accountable for what's going on, because ultimately their responsibility is you, the people, is us, the people. Like, that is the responsibility of the leaders, is to provide and to nurture and to advance not only the people but the planet that we live on. And it seems that at this point in time, it's getting lost and forgotten about. So yeah, another thing we need to hold accountable. Number one, we need to hold accountable is ourselves. You know, if we are having these thoughts or we're not, it depends wherever we're at, but we need to hold ourselves accountable for the collective consciousness, because we are the collective consciousness. We are part of it. We're not separate. It doesn't matter where your consciousness is compared to someone else, because what matters is where the collective consciousness is. So if you're up here and someone else is down here, it's no good looking down. What you have to do is you need to bring them up, you know. And that's what our role is, and that's what we're here to do, is to raise the consciousness of the planet, so that everyone's on the same level, everyone's talking, everyone's taking action, and that's what we need to make this a better place. And the last thing I'll just briefly want to touch on is our money systems. You know, we're paying a lot of interest to private private organisations. Like, why don't we have a money system or a banking system that's run by our government? And when I say our government, I mean for the people. I don't mean by, a dictatorship. What I mean, a government is there to serve the people and to provide for the people. So when we're at that level, we can have a government run money system, and anything that's profited from that system would go back into the people and back into our resources, back into our schools, back into our hospitals, back into our roads, which is going to cut taxes a lot, and just keep the money, keep everything for the people, which is the way it's meant to be. So I've kind of run out of things to say. That's about the end of my video. Hi Tanya, hi Teresa, hi Sandra, Susan, Damon, hi Lauren and Felicity. Thank you for watching and tuning in. If there's anyone has any questions or statements or anything they'd like to say, please comment. I've been watching the comments, but I haven't seen many at all. Yeah, just throw a comment in and that's we can keep the chat going. If no one has any questions or comments, thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll just give it a moment. Hey James, just finishing up, mate. Welcome. I'm going to post this video again, so it'll be on my page if you want to rewatch it. And I'm not getting any more comments. So if you think of something later and would like to comment it, just leave it after this, and I'll try to get back to you. And yeah, thank you all for watching. It feels good to speak about that. It's something that's been sort of, all those topics have been running around my mind for a while now. So it's good to release that. Yeah, highly recommended. Thanks again for watching, and see you all again soon. Peace and love and light and illumination.